Have you ever felt like a pawn in someone else's game? That nagging feeling when people only reach out when they need something? It's a harsh reality, but it's one that many of us face. Picture this. You're there, ready to lend a hand, but it hits you. This connection is only skin deep. Why is it so hard to find genuine relationships? What if I told you there's a way to navigate this tangled web of interest without losing yourself? Imagine being equipped with a mindset that shields you from manipulation while fostering true connections. The Stoics believed in understanding human nature and embracing wisdom as a shield against deceit. But how do we apply that wisdom in the real world? What if the key isn't just in recognizing these interactions, but in transforming your approach entirely? This isn't just about protecting yourself. It's about elevating your own life and the lives of those who truly matter. So, let's dive deep into this complex dance of human relationships, peeling back layers and discovering the strength within you to rise above the superficial. Are you ready to uncover the truth and reclaim your power? Let's get started. If you're looking for more emotional balance, clarity in decision-making, and want to learn how to handle life better, this content is for you. So go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because with each video you'll grow stronger on the inside and see life with greater wisdom. Identifying signs of interest. You know, it's funny how sometimes we find ourselves in situations where we're not quite sure if someone is genuinely interested in us or if they're just after something else. I've been there more times than I can count. It's almost like a sixth sense kicks in when you start noticing little things, like how they only reach out when they need help or how their texts become a bit more frequent when they want something. Can be confusing, right? You start questioning whether their smiles are sincere or just a mask for something more selfish. One of the key signs I've learned to look for is consistency in their behavior. If someone is genuinely interested in you, they'll make an effort to be present in your life, not just during the good times or when it's convenient for them. Think about it. Have you ever had a friend who only calls you when they're in a bind? At first, it might feel nice to be needed, but then you realize it's a one-sided relationship. That's when it's crucial to take a step back and assess the dynamics. Another behavior to pay attention to is the depth of your conversations. Are they asking you about your life, your dreams, and your thoughts? Or are they just skimming the surface talking about superficial things? I've found that people who are truly interested want to know you, your fears, your passions, and what makes you tick. If the conversation feels shallow, it might be a red flag. Genuine interest often comes with a desire to delve deeper into the emotional side of things. Body language is another telltale sign. Eye contact, open gestures, and leaning in when you're speaking can all indicate that someone is engaged with you. Conversely, if they're frequently checking their phone or looking around the room while you're talking, it might suggest their interest lies elsewhere. I remember a time when I was out with someone who kept glancing at their watch. It was disheartening, to say the least, and it told me all I needed to know about their level of interest. Finally, listen to your gut. Sometimes, your intuition can provide insights that logic cannot. If something feels off, it probably is. I've learned that trusting my instincts about people has saved me from a lot of heartache. If you sense that someone's interest is purely transactional, it's essential to acknowledge that feeling and act accordingly. Establishing boundaries. When it comes to relationships, whether they're romantic or platonic, establishing clear boundaries is absolutely crucial. I used to think that setting boundaries made me seem harsh or unapproachable, but I've come to realize that they're necessary for my well-being. Boundaries serve as guidelines that help define what is acceptable and what isn't in any relationship. Without them, it's easy to find yourself in compromising situations that can lead to resentment. One of the first steps in establishing boundaries is understanding what you need. This might sound simple, but it can be surprisingly challenging. I've often found myself in situations where I felt uncomfortable, but I couldn't articulate why. Taking the time to reflect on my feelings helped me clarify what I was willing to tolerate and what I wasn't. Once I figured that out, it became easier to communicate my limits to others. Communication is key. I remember a time when a friend kept borrowing my things without asking. At first, I didn't mind, but as it became a habit, I started to feel taken advantage of. I finally mustered the courage to tell them that I needed to know when they were borrowing something. Their reaction was surprisingly positive. They hadn't realized it bothered me. It's a testament to how clear communication can lead to stronger, healthier relationships. Another aspect of boundaries is knowing that it's okay to say no. This was a hard lesson for me. I used to feel guilty about declining invitations or requests, fearing that others would think less of me. However, I've learned that saying no can actually foster respect. When you stand firm in your limits, you communicate that you value your time and energy, and that often encourages others to do the same. Lastly, I've realized that boundaries are not static, they can evolve over time. As we grow and change, so do our needs. Regularly reevaluating my boundaries has allowed me to adapt to new situations and relationships. It's been a journey of self-discovery, and I've found that honoring my boundaries ultimately leads to more fulfilling connections. Analyzing motivations. Understanding why people approach us is like peeling back the layers of an onion. It can get messy, but it's absolutely essential if we want to avoid getting hurt in our relationships. I often find myself questioning the motivations behind someone's actions. Are they genuinely interested in me, or do they have ulterior motives? This kind of analysis can feel tedious, but it's worth the effort for my emotional well-being. One of the first things I try to do is observe patterns in their behavior. Do they tend to reach out only during specific times, like when they need help or want something? This behavior can often reveal a lot about their true intentions. I remember a colleague who would only engage with me when they wanted favors at work. It was eye-opening and made me rethink our professional relationship entirely. It's also important to consider the context of their approach. For instance, are they coming to you during a vulnerable moment in your life? Sometimes people prey on our weaknesses. I've had acquaintances who seemed supportive until I realized they were using my struggles to elevate their own status or gain sympathy. Analyzing these motivations has helped me create emotional distance from people who don't have my best interests at heart. Another thing to keep in mind is the concept of reciprocity. Healthy relationships are built on mutual benefit. If I find myself constantly giving more than I receive, it raises a red flag. I've learned to ask myself whether the other person is putting in the same effort. If not, it might be time to reevaluate that connection. It's not about keeping score, but rather about recognizing the imbalance that can lead to resentment. Finally, I've found that listening to others' stories can provide insight into their motivations. If someone shares their struggles and vulnerabilities, it often indicates they're looking for genuine connection. On the other hand, if their stories tend to be self-centered or manipulative, it might suggest that they're more interested in using me as a means to an end. Analyzing these motivations has become a valuable tool for navigating my relationships. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is one of those buzzwords that gets thrown around a lot, but it's genuinely transformative in the context of relationships. I've learned that understanding my own needs and expectations is the foundation for any healthy connection. When I'm clear about what I want, I can communicate that effectively to others, which ultimately leads to more satisfying interactions. The first step in cultivating self-awareness is reflecting on my past experiences. I like to take time to think about what I've liked or disliked in previous relationships. What patterns do I notice? What needs went unmet? This kind of introspection helps me identify what I truly value in my connections with others. For instance, I've realized that I thrive in relationships where there's open communication and respect for boundaries. Another aspect of self-awareness is recognizing my emotional triggers. There are certain behaviors that can set me off, and understanding these triggers allows me to respond more constructively. I remember feeling overwhelmed when a friend would frequently interrupt me. Instead of reacting defensively, I've learned to express how that behavior affects me. This self-awareness has led to healthier conversations and less conflict. It's also crucial to acknowledge that my needs may change over time. What I wanted from a relationship 5 years ago might not be what I want now. I've found that regular check-ins with myself help me stay aligned with my current desires. This could mean reassessing my priorities or even letting go of connections that no longer serve me. Finally, self-awareness empowers me to set realistic expectations for others. I've often caught myself projecting my needs onto those around me, expecting them to intuitively know what I want. Understanding my own expectations allows me to communicate them clearly rather than leaving it up to guesswork. This not only alleviates frustration but also fosters deeper connections. Assertive communication. When it comes to expressing my feelings and concerns, assertive communication has been a game changer. I used to shy away from addressing issues directly, fearing confrontation. However, I've realized that being assertive doesn't mean being aggressive. It's about respecting both my feelings and those of others. This shift in mindset has led to more constructive dialogues in my relationships. The first step in practicing assertive communication is being clear about what I want to express. I've found that taking a moment to gather my thoughts before addressing an issue helps me articulate my feelings more effectively. Instead of saying, "You always interrupt me," I can frame it as, "I feel overlooked when I'm interrupted during our conversations." This small change in language makes a big difference in how the message is received. Another important aspect is using I statements. By focusing on my own feelings rather than placing blame, I can communicate my concerns without putting the other person on the defensive. For instance, saying, "I feel anxious when plans change last minute," is much more constructive than, "You always change the plans." This approach fosters understanding and encourages a more open conversation. Active listening is also a crucial part of assertive communication. It's not just about expressing my feelings, it's equally important to listen to the other person's perspective. I've found that paraphrasing what the other person says can show that I'm engaged and willing to understand their point of view. This not only strengthens our connection but also creates a safe space for both parties to express themselves. Finally, practicing assertiveness takes time and patience. I've had moments where I stumbled or felt. Evaluating the value of the relationship. When it comes to assessing the value of a relationship, I often find myself torn between the emotions I feel and the rationality I know I should apply. It's easy to get swept away by the feelings we develop for someone, but sometimes those feelings can cloud our judgment. I've learned that taking a step back and really evaluating the relationship is crucial. I start by asking myself some key questions. Is this person adding value to my life? Do they support my dreams and goals? Or are they merely a distraction, someone who is only there for their own benefit? It's also essential to look at how this relationship impacts my well-being. Are they draining my energy or uplifting it? I think about how I feel after spending time with them. Do I leave feeling inspired and valued, or do I feel used and unappreciated? The answers to these questions often guide me in determining if the relationship is worth investing my time and emotional energy. I've had relationships where I simply ignored the red flags, thinking that love or friendship would be enough to make it work. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Then there's the matter of hidden intentions. Sometimes people come into our lives with ulterior motives, and recognizing those can be key to evaluating a relationship's worth. I've encountered individuals who seem genuinely interested in me, only for their true intentions to surface later. Reflecting on past experiences helps me identify patterns and recognize when someone is more interested in what I can offer rather than who I am as a person. I also consider the longevity of the relationship. Is it something that has the potential to grow and evolve, or is it stagnating? Evaluating the trajectory of the relationship can offer insights into whether it's worth continuing. Relationships that show promise and mutual growth often outweigh those that feel one-sided. In the end, I remind myself that it's perfectly okay to walk away from a relationship that doesn't serve my best interests, no matter how hard that may be. Ultimately, evaluating the value of a relationship is not just about weighing pros and cons. It's about listening to my gut feelings and aligning my choices with my core values. I'm learning that it's essential to prioritize relationships that contribute to my happiness and personal growth while being brave enough to let go of those that don't. Developing empathy. Empathy is a cornerstone for navigating relationships, especially when things get complicated. I often remind myself that every person has a story, and understanding that story can shift my perspective significantly. Instead of jumping to conclusions about someone's behavior or intentions, I try to put myself in their shoes. What might they be going through? What experiences have shaped them? This practice not only helps me to react thoughtfully but also fosters a deeper connection between us. For instance, I remember a time when a friend seemed distant and uninterested. My first instinct was to feel hurt and neglected, but then I took a moment to think about what could be happening in their life. Maybe they were dealing with stress at work or personal issues that I wasn't aware of. When I reached out to them with compassion and understanding, it opened a dialogue that strengthened our friendship instead of letting misunderstandings drive a wedge between us. Developing empathy also means recognizing that everyone has their own insecurities and fears. I've found that when I approach situations with this understanding, it often softens my initial reactions and helps me respond more kindly. For example, if someone is acting out of character or seems overly critical, I ask myself what might be at the root of their behavior. It's liberating to realize that their actions may not be about me at all. They could be wrestling with their own challenges. Moreover, empathy doesn't mean that I have to accept poor behavior or disregard my own boundaries. It's about finding a balance between understanding where someone is coming from while still standing firm in my own needs. I've learned that it's entirely possible to empathize with someone while also choosing to protect my emotional well-being. This delicate dance has been a game-changer in my relationships. Finally, developing empathy enriches my interactions and helps me cultivate a more compassionate outlook. I often remind myself that everyone is fighting their own battles, and sometimes, just a little understanding can make a world of difference. By allowing empathy to guide my responses, I create a more nurturing environment for myself and those around me. Choosing battles. In relationships, choosing which battles to fight is an art form that I'm still mastering. There are times when I feel compelled to confront someone about their behavior, but then there are moments when I realize that it's better to let things slide. Learning the difference between what's worth addressing and what's not can save a lot of emotional energy and stress. I've found that it helps to evaluate the potential outcomes of a confrontation. Will addressing this behavior lead to a constructive conversation, or is it likely to escalate into an argument? I think back to instances where I chose to speak up and how they turned out. Sometimes, a simple discussion clarified misunderstandings and strengthened the relationship. Other times, it led to defensiveness and hurt feelings. There's also the consideration of timing. I've learned that sometimes, the worst moments to confront someone are when emotions are running high. In those instances, I try to wait until I can approach the conversation calmly and rationally. It's incredible how a little time and space can change my perspective and help me articulate my feelings more clearly. On the other hand, I've also realized that there are moments when silence speaks louder than words. Choosing not to engage in every disagreement teaches me to focus on what truly matters. I've had to accept that not every action deserves a reaction and that sometimes, walking away is the strongest statement I can make. Ultimately, choosing my battles wisely is about prioritizing my emotional well-being and maintaining healthy relationships. It's about knowing when to stand firm and when to let go. This balance allows me to invest my energy in connections that truly matter while protecting myself from unnecessary drama. Focusing on healthy relationships. In a world filled with varying dynamics, I've come to value the importance of focusing on healthy relationships. Authentic connections enrich our lives in ways that superficial ones simply can't. As I navigate my social landscape, I've learned to prioritize relationships that uplift me and contribute positively to my overall well-being. I start by examining how I feel around certain people. Do I leave our interactions feeling energized and valued, or do I find myself drained and questioning my worth? These feelings often serve as indicators of the healthiness of a relationship. I've found that surrounding myself with supportive individuals creates a positive feedback loop where we can all thrive together. Moreover, healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding. I've noticed that in my closest friendships, there's an unspoken agreement to support one another unconditionally. This foundation allows us to be open and honest about our struggles and triumphs. It's refreshing to know that I can share my concerns without the fear of judgment or dismissal. I also pay attention to how conflicts are resolved within these relationships. In healthy connections, disagreements are addressed constructively, and both parties are willing to compromise. I've experienced the opposite in toxic relationships, where arguments turn into blame games. This contrast has made it clear to me that I want to invest my energy in relationships that foster growth rather than contention. Lastly, focusing on healthy relationships means letting go of those that don't serve me. It's not always easy, but I've learned that prioritizing my emotional health is vital. By surrounding myself with individuals who genuinely care and support my journey, I create a network of positivity that propels me forward, making life's challenges feel more manageable. Learning from past experiences. Reflecting on past experiences has been one of the most enlightening journeys of my life. Each relationship, whether it ended on a high note or a low one, has taught me valuable lessons about myself and others. I've realized that the key to avoiding repeating previous mistakes lies in my willingness to learn and adapt. For instance, I once had a close friend who seemed to care deeply for me. However, over time, I noticed that our friendship was one-sided. I was always the one making plans and reaching out. Looking back, I can see that I ignored the signs of imbalance because I valued the friendship. Now, I'm more attentive to these dynamics and eager to nurture connections that feel reciprocal. Another lesson I've gleaned is the importance of setting boundaries early on. In my earlier relationships, I often hesitated to voice my needs, thinking that it might drive people away. However, I've learned that clarity about my boundaries leads to healthier interactions. I now recognize that if someone truly values me, they'll respect my limits. I've also come to appreciate the significance of timing in relationships. There were moments when I rushed into connections, eager for companionship, only to realize later that they weren't right for me. I now understand the value of taking my time to truly get to know someone before investing emotionally. This lesson has helped me cultivate deeper and more meaningful relationships. Ultimately, every experience, good or bad, has contributed to my growth. By reflecting on the lessons learned, I'm better equipped to navigate new relationships with wisdom and confidence. I embrace the idea that every setback is an opportunity for growth, and that understanding my past can help shape a more fulfilling future. Strengthening self-esteem. Building self-esteem is crucial when navigating relationships, especially when you suspect that someone might have ulterior motives. It's easy to feel guilty for questioning someone's intentions, but developing self-confidence can help mitigate those feelings. You see, when you know your worth, you're less likely to accept less than you deserve. It's about recognizing that your feelings and instincts are valid. If something feels off, it probably is. A great way to start strengthening your self-esteem is through positive affirmations. Every morning, I take a moment to remind myself of my qualities and what I bring to the table. This practice not only sets a positive tone for the day but also reinforces my belief in myself. You might consider writing down a few affirmations that resonate with you. Over time, these small reminders can lead to a significant shift in how you perceive yourself and your relationships. Another aspect of self-esteem is learning to accept compliments gracefully. Often, we deflect praise or downplay our achievements because we fear that they'll come across as boasting. But accepting compliments is crucial for self-acceptance. When someone appreciates you, it's an acknowledgement of your value. Embracing this can be a powerful step in bolstering your self-worth. It's also vital to surround yourself with people who uplift you. Engaging with supportive friends and family can create a positive feedback loop. When you're in a circle that celebrates you, it's easier to believe in yourself. The inverse is also true. Negative influences can chip away at your confidence. Be discerning about who you let into your space and make it a point to foster relationships that encourage your growth. Lastly, remember that self-esteem isn't a destination but a journey. There will be ups and downs, and that's perfectly normal. The key is to stay committed to the process of self-discovery and improvement. As you grow more secure in who you are, you'll find it easier to question the intentions of others without feeling guilty or insecure. Emotional support. Having a solid emotional support system is essential when dealing with complicated relationships. It's easy to feel isolated when you're second-guessing someone's intentions, but reaching out to friends or family can provide clarity. Sometimes, just voicing your concerns can ease the burden and allow you to see things from a different perspective. You might consider forming a small group of trusted individuals who can offer honest feedback. This way, you can share your experiences and feelings without the fear of judgment. These conversations can be incredibly cathartic and can help you navigate your emotions more effectively. It's comforting to know that you're not alone in your struggles and that others have been through similar situations. Moreover, having someone to lean on provides a sense of reassurance. When you're in a complex relationship, it can cloud your judgment. Friends can help you sift through your thoughts and feelings, making it easier to discern what's real and what's just noise. Their outside perspective can highlight red flags that you might have missed or validate your concerns, which is invaluable. In addition, seeking professional support like therapy or counseling can be a game changer. A trained professional can provide you with tools to handle emotional turmoil and improve your relationship skills. They can also guide you in building a more robust support network. Sometimes, just having someone to talk to who understands the intricacies of relationships can make all the difference. Overall, the importance of emotional support in navigating challenging relationships cannot be overstated. It not only helps you process your feelings but also equips you with the strength and confidence needed to confront the issues head-on. Reassessing priorities. Reevaluating your priorities is an essential step in understanding what you truly want from your relationships. Often we get caught up in what society expects or what we think will make us happy. Taking a step back to reflect on your personal values and desires can provide clarity. It's about identifying what genuinely matters to you and aligning your relationships accordingly. Journaling can be an effective tool for this reflection. Set aside time to write down your thoughts on what you value most in relationships. Trust, loyalty, honesty, or perhaps adventure. This exercise can illuminate the qualities you seek in others and help you identify any discrepancies in your current relationships. It's a powerful way to hold yourself accountable and ensure you're not settling for less than you deserve. Another way to reassess your priorities is to evaluate how you feel after interacting with certain individuals. Do you feel drained or uplifted? Do these relationships add value to your life, or do they bring unnecessary stress? This assessment will help you understand whether your current relationships align with your core values. It's essential to recognize that it's okay to prioritize yourself and your well-being. Additionally, consider your long-term goals. Where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years? Are the people in your life supportive of those aspirations? If not, it might be time to reassess their roles in your life. Surrounding yourself with individuals who share similar ambitions can foster a more supportive environment, making it easier to pursue your goals. Ultimately, reassessing your priorities is an ongoing process. Life changes and so do people. Regularly checking in with yourself ensures that you're continually aligned with your values and that your relationships reflect what you truly want. This alignment will not only enhance your well-being but also lead to more fulfilling connections. Techniques for letting go. Learning to detach emotionally from people who don't have your best interests at heart can be challenging, but it's a vital skill. Emotional detachment doesn't mean shutting off your feelings. It means recognizing when a relationship is unhealthy and having the strength to step back. This process often involves implementing strategies that allow you to reclaim your emotional space. One effective technique for emotional detachment is mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness helps you become more aware of your thoughts and feelings without judgment. When you find yourself getting wrapped up in someone else's drama or negativity, take a moment to breathe and recenter. Acknowledge your feelings but remind yourself that you have the power to choose how to respond. This practice can create a buffer between you and the emotional turmoil caused by others. Setting boundaries is another crucial aspect of emotional detachment. Communicate clearly with the individual about what behaviors you won't tolerate. This could be as simple as expressing that you need space or that certain conversations are off-limits. Boundaries are essential for protecting your emotional health, and they can help you maintain a sense of control in your relationships. Additionally, consider engaging in activities that promote self-care. Whether it's exercising, meditating, or pursuing a hobby, these activities can provide a healthy distraction and help you reconnect with your sense of self. When you invest time in yourself, it becomes easier to detach from toxic relationships. You'll find that you have more energy to focus on what truly matters. Lastly, remind yourself that it's okay to let go. Sometimes, we hold on to relationships out of a sense of obligation or fear of being alone. However, recognizing that your well-being comes first is essential. Letting go can open the door to healthier relationships and a more fulfilling life. Embrace this change and you'll find that the emotional weight will gradually lift. Cultivating gratitude. Focusing on gratitude is a powerful way to strengthen your social network and improve your perspective on relationships. When you consciously appreciate the people who genuinely care for you, it shifts your mindset from one of scarcity to abundance. This shift allows you to attract more positive relationships into your life and reinforces your emotional resilience. One effective way to cultivate gratitude is to keep a gratitude journal. Every evening, jot down a few things you're thankful for, including the people who have supported you. This practice helps you recognize the value of genuine connections and reminds you of the love and support that exists in your life. Over time, you'll find it easier to appreciate the positive relationships while distancing yourself from the less healthy ones. Additionally, expressing gratitude to others can strengthen your bonds. Take the time to tell your friends and family how much they mean to you. A simple message or note can go a long way in reinforcing your connections. When people feel appreciated, it fosters a sense of belonging and encourages them to be more present and supportive in your life. Another aspect of gratitude is shifting your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant. Instead of dwelling on past negative experiences or relationships that didn't work out, concentrate on the lessons learned. Reflecting on how those experiences have shaped you can provide closure and allow you to move forward with a positive outlook. Finally, surrounding yourself with optimistic individuals can amplify your gratitude practice. Engage with those who share your values and appreciate the good things in life. Their positivity can be contagious and encourage you to maintain an attitude of gratitude, even during challenging times. As you cultivate gratitude, you'll find that your relationships flourish, and you'll be more equipped to handle those that are less than ideal. As we wrap up today's exploration of dealing with people who only reach out when they need something, let's take a moment to reflect. Think about the relationships in your life. Are they built on mutual respect and genuine connection, or are they more like transactions? Remember, the Stoics teach us the importance of focusing on what we can control. You can't change others, but you can change how you respond. So, the next time someone approaches you with that familiar agenda, pause. Ask yourself, is this interaction enriching my life, or is it draining my energy? It's okay to set boundaries. In fact, it's necessary for your well-being. Now, I want you to challenge yourself. This week, identify one relationship that feels one-sided. How can you address it? Maybe it's a simple conversation, or perhaps it's time to let go. As you navigate these dynamics, remember, every encounter is an opportunity for growth. Embrace the discomfort and don't shy away from tough conversations. What will you do differently? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found value in this discussion, hit that like button and subscribe for more insights into living a stoic life. Let's keep this journey of wisdom going together.